Now, as I say, a repeat of yesterday's escape is extremely unlikely today because the route is about as basic as it gets, 162.5 kilometres from Carcassonne to Montpellier, with a couple of negligible climbs in the first 60 and 2 sprints, the intermediate after 113 kilometres and the one on the finish line, which doesn't mean to say that it'll be an easy stage because the forecast is for strong crosswinds. Nonetheless, it should be a sprint finish, and it's one that's already stored in the Cavendish computer memory from 2011. If he can reproduce that today to take his 4th win of this year's Tour and to mention Data's 5th, it'll be Roger Hammond banging the dashboard in the team car.
I've seen a Movistar rider go out there with a flat tyre. I think it was Nelson Oliveira, and he's a pretty strong workhorse. Now we've got to keep an eye where the Movistar boys are located here, because they're not near the front just at the moment, as they're now starting to really ride. And look at the cheeky Peter Sagan. He's tempting everybody to come out and play. Yeah, but still 12k to go and being chased by the yellow jersey. This is an amazing situation.
Well, Froome sees a little bit of danger there and says, right, I know Peter Sagan, I know how strong he is, I'm going for this. And he's been his teammate Geraint Thomas there caught out a little bit. He was, I think, a bit surprised to see the acceleration coming from the yellow jersey.
Chris Froome is beginning to ride a Tour de France like the great Eddie Merckx. He's looking still to attack when the conditions maybe don't quite suit a man. He usually waits for the time trial or the mountain. He did it downhill into Luchon. He's now doing it on the flat roads to Montpellier.
There is Thibaut Pinot, the polka dot jersey again. Now, Geraint Thomas has said, right, I've seen this. This is an opportunity. Look at the speed these riders are knocking out right now. Phil, we're looking 66 kilometres an hour. That's 42 miles an hour. BMC are the team that have been caught out a little bit. I don't think anybody would have expected Le Maillot Jaune, the yellow jersey, to go out like that. Katusha now on the offensive, trying to pull themselves back. Ethics Quickstep, you can see there in the black and blue jerseys, they're trying to nurse their man up there. And also you've got Dimension Data looking after their man, Mark Cavendish, who's floating around in there, hoping that it all comes back together.
Well, this brings back the conversation I had with a former yellow jersey in the Tour de France an hour before we came on air, Rolf Sorensen. He said today Quintana will lose the Tour de France, and I thought he must be going mad. But at the moment, Quintana's caught in that group, and every second counts. He really is locked in at the moment, while it's Peter Sagan and the yellow jersey try to drive it away.
I was just looking around that group there to see if there were any other riders from Movistar, but it looked to me as if all of a sudden Nairo Quintana was a little bit isolated, but none of the other contenders, Phil, could, I think, have expected that. There's Quintana there. He's looking around saying, hey, this is not good for me.
There are no Movistar riders there except Valverde further up the line.
Yeah, but he's fairly lucky that there's a number of riders trying to get themselves organised. But as you can see, they're only using half of the road, and that doesn't leave a lot of space left for everybody else to get any shelter or any respite from the wind.
Quintana has conceded 9 seconds at the moment, as now Chris Froome saying, look, he's prepared to work here with Peter Sagan. The face on Geraint Thomas, he's just hanging on to Chris Froome at the moment as they continue to drive as best they can. And it is Maciej Bodnar, who is the Tinkoff rider, helping.
Well, Race Radio is saying 8 seconds advantage. The computer saying 12 seconds advantage. This is pretty much unheard of to see a guy like Chris Froome go out on the attack on a stage like this. But it just goes to show, as we've said, Phil, since the start of this Tour de France, any day is a good opportunity. Now you can start to see they're beginning to get themselves organised, and the teams of the sprinters must start to think, wait, hey, we're getting this wrong right now. We're allowing a man who is the king of the mountains to get into a breakaway. There's Quintana. I just keep looking around. Where's his teammates? Where are the men to look after him?
They are, and I'll go back to Rolf Sorensen, who said his team will not be able to help him on a stage like this. And Quintana now is going to have to do it for himself. He's on the right of the picture there as he rides on the shoulders of the leader of the Lotto Jumbo team. And that rider is Bauke Mollema. Sorry. Is Wilco Kelderman, yeah.
Number 91, just in the middle there with the yellow helmet, red jersey. That is Richie Porte. And his teammate is up there alongside him as well, TJ Van Garderen. But the gap, Phil, Race Radio is now saying it's stretched out to 16 seconds. This is amazing.
It should have been anticipated, I think, but it hasn't been so far. But the gaps are there. Adam Yates is also in a spot of bother. He's caught back with Dan Martin as well as Rodriguez. Even further back, it's time gain across the board for favourites if they push this one home. Geraint Thomas is the only Sky Rider able to go. And look at Peter Sagan, because he knows if he races away with these four, he wins the stage.
Yeah, but he will collaborate because this is a beautiful opportunity for him.
Terrific riding.
The wind is coming from the left-hand side. That's why you can see that diagonal line now. All of a sudden, you've got Giant Alpecin trying to wind it up. MTN Quebec as well. I don't think anybody expected this, but look at the speeds as we start to look at 7.5 kilometres to go to the finish. We are seeing speeds, again, Phil, notching up there to 70 kilometres an hour.
This is the Tour de France of the old days.
Oh, Cavendish.
Now, Cavendish here, number 101. I'm not too sure what he's looking at. He's trying to get something, but has he got a problem?
I know.
He's coming back into what seems to be the peloton now. Ethics look a little bit all at sea. There's no lead out for Ethics now. They're just throwing a rider on the front. Dylan Groenewegen is here as well, the champion of Holland. They're caught off guard by the strongmen of the Tour.
Well, there's some extremely powerful riders. There's a little problem. Mark Cavendish, according to Race Radio, is at the back having a quick chat with the neutral service vehicle. But at the moment, Phil, the fact is that his own team car will not be behind him. There are so many riders drop back.
4 riders, Bodnar, the helper for Sagan, Thomas, the helper for Froome. Those 4 riders, the gaps are prizing open, 17 seconds to the peloton.
They are now swinging, Phil, slightly towards the left-hand side. So what's going to happen now is they're actually going to move a little bit into a headwind for the moment. But Froome sees this as an amazing opportunity.
Froome is willing to work. He's doubled his overall lead already on all of the riders behind him in the overall classification on a day before we get to Mont Ventoux.
But this is such an incredible tactical situation to be in. 2 riders from Tinkoff and 2 riders from Team Sky. Geraint Thomas will give his all here. He doesn't care about himself. He'll ride his heart out for Chris Froome. On the other hand, the teammate up there alongside Peter Sagan will also be riding himself into real difficulty because Maciej Bodnar is a real good individual time trialist who has no hopes in the overall standing. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, you can see Quintana still moving around. He's got a teammate up there with him now, Richie Porte, number 91. Adam Yates is not far away in the white jersey, but they're just hovering, hoping to stay in contact, but the gap continues to extend 23 seconds.
Yates, Quintana, Martin are more or less together at 23 seconds. Rodriguez has been split off the back, and Mark Cavendish has got serious problems here. And whatever's wrong with his bike, it's the end of the day for Mark because the race is running away from him. That's a rather sad sight for Mark Cavendish. He's been brilliantly positioned all day. But now it's the green jersey of Peter Sagan, his teammate and national champion of Poland in the time trial, Bodnar, and then Geraint Thomas and Chris Froome, and they're trying to ride the peloton of the Tour de France off their back wheel. Absolutely amazing.
Well, they're panicking in this group now. They're trying to get themselves organised. You've got 2 of the teams of the big sprinters, Ethics Quickstep and Katusha, trying to get some organisation going, but they've been caught on the back foot. Nobody expected a move like this in the crosswinds down towards the end. And if you want to see a world champion at work, well, turn your TV on right now and have a look at the man in the green jersey, because Peter Sagan really is an amazing character. He will attack any which way he wants to. He'll attack in the mountains, he'll attack on the flat stages, he'll even attack in the crosswinds.
Jens Voigt, what do you think of it now, Jens?
Like the other attack he did the other day, I'm just blown away by this smartness and how daring they actually raced this year. It's all about marginal games. Maybe Chris Froome doesn't think he can gain 2 minutes tomorrow, so he's thinking, I'm taking 30 seconds today, and he will surely finish second in the stage, so that means he's going to get another 6 bonus seconds. He's close to 30 seconds advantage, which then gives him almost a minute to Nairo Quintana. And I want to see how Nairo want to take that back tomorrow. Brilliant move. It's very daring, but it looks like it's paying off. Awesome.
Yeah, but Jensi, just one thing now. You know, the speed of the peloton in the final few kilometres like this, do you think the 4 men, even though they have got big pedigrees under their names, do you think they can hold off the sprinters?
I would think so. It's tailwind for all of them now, so they all go like super fast. And, well, the 4 guys in the front, they need to rely on the fact that the peloton is maybe not getting perfectly organized. At the moment, it looks like several teams chasing. Team Katyusha, Team Quickstep, of course, want to bring it back for a bunch sprint. So, yes, it's not safe yet.
Well, at the moment, Jens, the leaders are travelling 4 kilometres an hour faster than the boys who are chasing them. And that should say it all at the moment. The gap is growing, 23 seconds now. There should be a panic now. Running down now, there's no more obstacles. This is a sprinter's approach to the finishing line in Montpellier. But we're seeing a Tour de France like we haven't seen since what I'll always call the good old days. The race leaders attacking the peloton when you don't expect them to do it.
Well, I just keep thinking, Phil, about all of the people who complained about Chris Froome, saying this man is like a robot. He's too programmed. He rides the same way all of the time. This is a group that's being left behind. Well,
wow.
This is taking the handbook of tactics, throwing it out of the window. There's no looking at time readouts now. There's no looking at wattages. There's only 3 kilometers to go, riding with your gut and your instinct.
Chris Froome and Peter Sagan, wearing the leaders' jerseys of the 2 major competitions in the Tour de France, are 2.8 kilometres from the finish, and they're riding together. Froome will lose the sprint to Peter Sagan. That's not the point. Time wins the Tour de France, and Froome is nailing his colours to the mast now.
Well, there are 3 time bonuses available, and there are 4 riders in that leading group. 10 seconds, 6 seconds, and 4 seconds available once they cross the finishing line. I don't think Chris Froome is going to beat the man in that green jersey, because Peter Sagan is the fastest man in the group, but he could very well hold on to second place and get himself a 6-second time bonus. But what does this do psychologically to Nairo Quintana, to Richie Porte, to TJ Van Garderen? Talk about a smack in the face for those guys. This is psychologically superb.
Time will tell. But Rolf Sorensen said today Quintana will lose the Tour de France, and it might well prove to be the case in hindsight, because these seconds, the way Froome is riding, are going to hurt the Colombian rider. Froome's totally changed his approach to this year's race. The peloton behind are racing for 5th place. That wasn't meant to be that way for the sprinters today.
Well, the 4 leaders, Phil, by the way, have just gone through the banner indicating 2 kilometers to go to the finish. And the fact is, you know, 2 riders from the same team on each breakaway group there means that they're never going to hold something back. You know you're in a tactically superb position. Geraint Thomas isn't thinking about winning the stage here this afternoon. He's thinking about gaining time for Chris Froome. The other rider in there as well, Bodnar, as they go to 1 kilometer to go, is just thinking about Peter Sagan, who flicks his wrist there to say, come on, let's keep riding all the way up to the line.
It is all about time. Every second counts. Froome will race to the line. He won't mind when Sagan overtakes him to win. Historically, his 6th stage in the Tour de France and his 7th this time, because Bodnar will also drop out. All they want is the 2 leaders to get up there. Now, Geraint Thomas, who's been hanging on, is now finding the strength to take his yellow jersey up towards the finishing line. Now Froome opens it up. It'll be a short 2nd place here, because Sagan will pop out and take the win and increase his lead into what will probably be a green jersey winning lead. They check over the shoulder. These are wise men. The peloton is closing. Is still a lot of daylight. There are 200, 300 meters to go. Bodnar taking his sprinter to the line now. Froome, boy, this is hurting Chris Froome to hold on to the wheel of Peter Sagan, but he's gone for the line. Froome has gone onto the shoulder. Sagan saw him coming, and Sagan will end the day as the winner, followed by Chris Froome, same time. Well, absolutely amazing. They've closed it right in about 5 seconds, maybe 6.
Yep, but Phil, an extra 6 seconds time bonus there.
Yep.
The 6-second time bonus will give an 11-second gain on the day for Chris Froome. And just tell me one thing. Did you ever think that could be an outcome today?
I tell you what, Chris Froome today became a giant of the world of cycling. Not just using what he's good at, he's tried every which way, and so far it's worked.
Lasciare, ma è partito lui.
Well, there you have the winner of the stage, and look at the damage that those final few kilometers have done here this afternoon, because that is some serious damage done in the flatter stage so far in the crosswinds. You really do have to learn that technique of riding in crosswinds on a day like this. Well, that was audacious, I have to say, as we see the gaps coming. A minute and 9 seconds lost there. Marcel Seeberger coming across the line in a day that we expected it to be for the sprinters. It was all about being attentive, all about being in, I mean, a look at the speed. So far, the fastest stage was 45 kilometers to Michael Matthews. It is now the average speed of today's stage, 47 kilometers an hour. Stage victory number 2 for Mr. Sagan. Brilliant ride by Peter Sagan, having his teammate up alongside him, Bodnar, and Chris Froome looks back to say, well, there we go, a few more seconds grabbed here and there, but more importantly, a few more seconds over all of the other contenders in the overall race of the Tour de France. But the day belongs to the man in green, the world champion, Peter Sagan, and now really dramatically extending his lead in that green jersey points competition.
Well, the best way to chase down a break involving the green and yellow jersey with a teammate each is not to let it go in the first place. And there is an extremely rare sprint stage result. Points leader from overall leader. Sagan from Froome, with Mathieu Bodnar 4th and Christophe leading the bunch at 6 seconds. Adam Yates, Nairo Quintana, Dan Martin and the other big names were in that 6-second group, although they actually conceded 12 seconds to Froome thanks to his bonus for second place. Mark Cavendish was not in that group. His mechanical problem on the run-in meant that he finished 140th at 3 minutes 50.
We went to the front, and Bernie went straight to the front and was moving up with red belt. And like it is in crosswinds, it's just a bit choppy, and bing, I hit my rear mech in someone's wheel. I don't know if it was my fault, I don't know if it was their fault. Like, it's irrelevant, really.
And actually his problems were irrelevant to the result overall, because once they went, there was no pulling back Froome and Sagan, so the chance of stage win number 4 was gone, gear trouble or not. Well, he won the green jersey without a stage win last year. Peter Sagan's second stage win this year might just have clinched his 5th points title in a row. Oleg Tinkov's run as Lucis Cannon in cycling is about to come to an end. This time next year, he'll have no reflected glory to bathe in, and he'll be doing this pantomime in front of his bedroom mirror.
Peter, congratulations. You started that move with about 12 kilometres to go, and for once people were working with you instead of sitting on your wheel, so that must have been a nice change for you.
It was very nice change. It was like unbelievable attack and unbelievable situation, because today was very crazy day, a lot of crashes and the strong wind, and everybody was expect maybe to split the group much before. But you know, last 12 kilometers was decisive for everybody, and it was like it's happened like from nothing, you know, like there was always like all the group, and then in just one moment everybody in the line, and okay, we go. And Chris Froome just follow with us, and yeah, we was working together very strong. I am happy for that, and thank you to Mathieu Bodnar and Sky team, because yeah, they helped me a lot also, and you know, in situation like that, Chris Froome was pulling for GC for the seconds, and we was pulling, working for the stage victory, and then everybody have own interest, and that was very nice, very good.
Now, here's what today's stage has done to the top 10, and it's opened up the gaps for a start. Adam Yates is still second, but now 28 seconds down. Dan Martin at 31 seconds, and Nairo Quintana 35. Bauke Mollema is up to 5th as Joaquin Rodriguez drops out of the top 10 altogether, as does Louis Meintjes, with TJ Van Garderen and Roman Kreuziger moving into it. Rodriguez and Meintjes are now 12th and 13th, having come in a group a minute and 9 seconds behind Froome. So once again, the man who can only ride to his spreadsheets and his power meter takes time with a little bit of improvisation.
Chris, congratulations. 12 more very important seconds, and you are alive to every opportunity at this Tour de France.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really are looking for every opportunity, and I think the team had just ridden so well today. It kept me at the front all day. So when I saw Peter Sagan going there in the last 10, 12 Ks, I thought, you know what, I've got nothing to lose here. Let me go after him and just see where this goes. And Geraint Thomas came with us, and the four of us worked really well together to try and obviously it was in all our interest to. Peter wanted the stage, and we wanted to try and get a bit of time on the GC guys.
And when you got up this morning and heard the wind was blowing, I guess that opened up a range of possibilities for you. You had this in mind. One thing to say it was planned, but another thing to say you were ready for it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this morning everyone was was nervous coming into today's stage, knowing that the wind was going to be a factor. But it seemed like all the teams were ready, all the teams were right up there. But I think just at the end, that's where the legs were a little bit sore. Everyone had been riding in the wind all day, and it played into our favour, obviously, to have ridden in that position right at the front. And I guess again, it's another chance we took, and it paid off.
You go into the Mont Ventoux stage with a 35-second lead over Quintana, but you've spoken to Christian Prudhomme about changes to tomorrow's stage. What has he told you?
Yeah, it sounds like the stage is going to be shortened because literally there are, I think, 120 km/h winds up there, and it's not even possible to ride a bike up there. You're just going to get blown off. So I think they're going to shorten the stage. The finish will most likely be at Chalet Renard tomorrow, which is more or less halfway up. Let's see. I mean, it's a shame for the race. Everyone wanted to see a big battle on Ventoux, but at the same time, I think they've made the right decision in the interest of the safety of the riders.
And just to temper your disappointment at that news, this is what 120 km/h winds on Mont Ventoux look like. This is a sportive event from 2013. The route change was confirmed by the Tour director.
As you saw today, there is a lot of wind. It will be still much windy tomorrow, according to the weather forecast. So the finish line will be on the Chalet Renard, 6 kilometers away from the summit of the Mont Ventoux. It's at the end of the wood. After it's only rocks, and it will be very, very windy. So it's impossible for safety to go further away for the riders, for the fans, and even for all our technical things at the finish line. Impossible to do something apart from something with the chalk on the road, and it won't be the case. So the finish will be at the Chalet Renard. That's very important for us to have a battle between the best riders of the world tomorrow. It will be on 10 kilometers with an average of 8-9%. So anyway, it will be very tough, and I'm sure there will be a big battle.